Nginx is a web server that can be used as a reverse proxy, load balancer, mail proxy, and HTTP caching service. The software was created by Russian developer Igor Susoev and was publicly released in 2004. Igor worked at one of the biggest Russian web service providers. He got the task to optimize the company web servers, which had been running Apache till then. Igor took the job, but soon came to the conclusion that with the available technology at the time, the increase of the current network connections a web server can handle is not possible. That is how he created Nginx. Nginx is free and open source software released under the terms of the Too-Close BSD license. There is also a paid version called Nginx Plus, but the open source version is quite capable. Nginx main characteristics include the ability to handle more than 10,000 simultaneous connections with a low memory footprint, module-based design, ability to be extended with external languages like Lua, wide protocol support, online configuration update and binaries upgrade without downtime. Let's see some of the main usages of Nginx.
Serving static content.
One of the simplest usages is acting as a web server for static content. This is a sample config that will make this work. First, the user that will be used for starting the Nginx worker processes is specified. Then comes the number of worker processes. PID specifies where the process ID of the running Nginx master process will be stored. In Nginx, there is a separation of the configuration in so-called contexts. The parameters we looked till now were in the main context. Now we enter in the events context. There we set the maximum number of connections per worker process. Then comes the HTTP context. It is probably the most common use of Nginx. When configuring Nginx as a web server or a reverse proxy, the HTTP context will hold the majority of the configurations. Here we set some MIME type and logging options, and then comes the server part. In the server block, the server name is defined. This could be an IP address, short name or fully qualified domain name. Also, there could be multiple servers defined. In this case, Nginx uses the HTTP header host to determine which server the request should be routed to. Next, the port used by the Nginx server is specified. Then, a location is set. It defines how the requests are handled. If only /location is set, it will handle all the requests. Otherwise, there could be a separate location for different URIs. The root clause defines the directory location where the HTML files are placed. By default, Nginx will try to open a file named index.html from this directory.
Acting as a reverse proxy.
Another use case for Nginx is proxying requests to backend services. In this sample config, all HTTP requests that come to the Nginx will be proxied to srv.example.com. The proxy path directive is used to configure the backend server.
Load balancing.
The reverse proxy configuration can be extended to balance the requests between multiple backend servers. This allows better application scaling. The application availability is also improved by utilizing backend server health checks.
Content caching.
Another interesting option is Nginx caching. With caching, the HTTP responses are saved to a disk cache and later on are used to respond to subsequent client requests without the need to call again the backend servers. The caching is defined based on a cache key, which includes the hash value of some of the request variables. For example, those can be the use scheme, the authorization header, the URI and the URI arguments. In the configuration, a cache path option should be specified in the HTTP context. And then, a proxy cache directive in HTTP server or location blocks should be set to enable the cache on the corresponding level.
Controlling Nginx processes.
Nginx has one master process and one or more worker processes. If caching is enabled, the cache loader and cache manager process also run at startup. The main purpose of the master process is to read and evaluate configuration files, as well as maintain the worker processes. The worker processes do the actual handling of the requests. Nginx configuration can be updated without downtime using the reload signal. With reload, one by one, the workers stop accepting new connections, finish the currently ongoing connections, and then are being recycled. There are also signals for graceful shutdown, reopening the access and error logs, or stopping the Nginx service immediately. Even the Nginx executable can be upgraded on the fly by replacing it with a new one and then sending the USR2 signal to the old process.
Nginx modules.
Nginx at its core is a collection of modules. Whether you are using core modules or third-party modules, the module framework is the same. New modules can be compiled and then loaded in Nginx config. Then the new module capabilities can be used. And that's it.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going